What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squad Chat. It's Trexel, along with
Parker.
I'm Jack.
welcome to episode 4, guys. So PlayStation just keeps unleashing these news upon us on Tuesdays, and we're not a PlayStation podcast, we're a gaming podcast, but PlayStation just keeps doing it to us.
Yeah.
Giving us
They
the goods.
confirmed PlayStation 5 for holiday 2020.
Bang bang! Ba-da-ba-ba!
So both Xbox and PlayStation are gonna have their next-gen consoles out next year.
It's gonna be a war.
So they also announced some other stuff along with their announcement of the release date, kind of spec-wise, and what their new technology will be able to do. We're gonna go over a few things that we know both next-gen consoles are gonna be capable of, as well as things we may want and may not want to see coming from the next generation.
Yes.
Parker's the man with the research. Take it away.
That's what I'm here for. Okay, so first of all, I want let's wait on the PS5. Let's talk about the Xbox Scarlet first, because that seems to be there was a big info dump on the PS5. So there's a lot to talk about there. So let's quickly go over what we know about the Xbox Scarlet so that we can then compare, right?
Okay.
E3 was not too long ago, and it was Xbox's big chance to show what they had because Sony was gone. And what they showed us was basically just specs. And they seem to be I don't know how exactly to say it, but like dream specs. It's kind of like this is what we expect to have, in the console, but there's nothing definite. And the thing about the PS5, which we'll go over in a minute, is it seems a little bit more solid. Xbox just seemed like they wanted the wow factor with their 3D models of stuff. But according to this GameSpot article that I was reading by Oscar Deus, this came out 5 days ago, just saying here's what we got. So far what we know is the Xbox Scarlet project actually has 2 consoles in it. One is the PS5 competitor, and they're calling that one the Anaconda. And yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, I think that's I think it's a little gross too.
Terrible name.
I
Code
agree.
name, right?
It's a
That's
code
not
name.
the actual name.
Yeah, so far all this is code stuff. Yeah, if they come out with something called the Xbox Anaconda, I'm definitely going. Just PC forever. And then the other one is going to be streaming centric, but it's not an entirely streaming console because they said they don't want to do an entirely streaming console, which is good based on the reaction they got when they said Xbox One only online all the time. We all remember that.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to the Xbox team, the specs are looking kind of the same-ish. There's an 8-core processor on both. The stream-centric Lockhart system is going to have 12 gigabytes of RAM versus the Anaconda's 16. So the Anaconda obviously getting more love there. And then the GPU, the graphics card on the Anaconda, is going to have 12 teraflops of power versus the 4 on the Lockhart. And if you're thinking, what's a teraflop? Boy, have I got a definition for you. So teraflops are the 1 trillion floating... Each 1 teraflop is 1 trillion floating point operations a second, aka how much processing power a graphics card has. So every time I try to explain the computer, I explain it like it's a desk, right? And you have the manager, who's the CPU, and you have the desk, which is its memory and how many things it can do. So the more teraflops you have, the more desk space you have, the more operations you can do, the more paperwork you can place on the desk, Okay. So basically the Anaconda is 3 times more powerful than the Lockhart. Turns out unless you guys have anything else on the Xbox, because it seems fairly boilerplate stuff. It's just specs. That's all.
They kind of just threw it out there and they said we'll have more to share next year at E3.
Yeah, so. It's cute, and the Halo trailer was cute, but
okay, but let me just say, the way Xbox announced their next gen console, far better than what PlayStation just did.
yes.
Yeah.
They just had a state of play last week or 2 weeks ago. We did a whole podcast.
We did a podcast on it 2 weeks ago.
And they just tweet? What a
Yeah.
singular tweet.
Yeah.
Hey, PlayStation 5, That's the name of it. Coming next year holiday. What do you
That's-
mean?
Yeah, like that's
kind
insane.
of a power move.
It's
No,
very.
it's not. It's bad.
It could be. It could be.
It could be. It's kind of. But we talked about this in one of our previous podcasts. Like PlayStation doesn't know their audience. They are so on top that they just feel on top. They're like, PS5, you know what's coming. Here you go. Here's the Wired article. Like,
Okay.
what?
And it was a tweet. It was like right when I got to work. So it was at like 7 a.m. my time.
Yeah,
so
it was the first thing I
wasn't
saw.
Like, it wasn't like a high traffic time. Like everyone's on Twitter. It was like first thing, got
And-
my cup of coffee, and first thing I see.
Yeah.
And the article they tweeted was very small.
Yes, but boy, that small
Oh.
article packs a punch, man.
It
It was
bad.
it was like to the point. They're like, here you go.
Yeah, it was definitely. I
There's
agree.
No pizzazz with it.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was no flair. But I think also I like that in a way because the Xbox presentation was a solid hour. It was a very entertaining hour. You even streamed it, Trex, but like it was a great time in that chat. But when it comes down to it, like all we have is what we just talked about of the Xbox, and like I feel like with the PS5 we have more. So it's kind of like they're not trying to
we
be
have more,
flash.
though?
I feel like we do because we at least like got to talk like it. I mean, obviously we didn't, but like the article talks with the actual like hardware designers and the people that are using the dev kit, and they're like, here's what the experience with this console is like. Whereas we got the cute corporate video of Xbox Scarlet is going to be great, but nobody was talking about like what it can actually do, and I feel like that's what we got in the PS5 article.
That's fair.
Also, holiday or fall 2020. Still not 100% sure about the Xbox Scarlet, but stay tuned. We will obviously update you when that happens. Thank you, Oscar Deas from GameSpot, for all the information that I learned today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk about PS5. Do we want
do
to?
it.
Does that sound good?
It's fine.
PS5. So I'm just going to go down my list of things that I have written because I was like really vibing with this article. It's designed with the PS4 in mind, so it's potentially backwards compatible with the PS4 and the PlayStation VR. So like we talked about in the State of Play thing podcast, seems like VR is going to be supported at least. Not necessarily a focal point, but supported, which is good.
Okay, briefly
Yeah.
on that, the backwards compatibility thing.
Yeah,
Every console going forward needs to have that.
I agree. 100%.
Like Xbox needs to have that 100%. The next Xbox after that, and the next PlayStation after this one, is when they launch that console. Like the worst part about getting a new console is there's no games.
Yeah, there's nothing to play.
If you have backwards compatibility, you have your whole library already.
Have I told you the first couple games that I played on my PS4 when I bought it? I bought the PS4. I was like, hell yes, I have this new huge like yes, the next step in gaming, and all I could play was Lego Marvel Avengers or Lego Marvel Superheroes
baby.
and Knack, Resogun, and Watch Dogs. And I had already played Watch Dogs. So it was like what's like, there was nothing. So yeah, I'm with you. Like that speaking of things we want from the next gen, I'd love a killer like first few games that release when the console comes out, because people blow through stuff so fast and things get spoiled so quickly that people are going to need multiple games to get through, I feel like. But yeah, I agree with the backwards compatibility thing. The fact that this is built specifically with the PS4 in mind, worried me a little bit because I hate the architecture of the PS4. I don't think it's sleek. I think it's loud, and I hate it.
Sounds like a jet.
And we'll get to that later. I guarantee you. I promise you about that. So apparently it seems to be rocking similar hardware to the Xbox One. The article made it very clear that both Microsoft and Sony had been talking to, not NVIDIA, to AMD and getting custom-built GPUs and custom-built processors. So it's not like the consoles, again, just like this generation, it's not like they're going to be that much different. They never are, except for
It's just
exclusives and
exclusive,
support and whichever customer service you prefer and whichever UI you prefer. That's all that consoles have ever been. Stop fighting about it. It's going to have a 4K player in it, 4K Blu-ray player. Typical stuff you'd expect from Sony, who invented Blu-ray or whatever. This was the first. Okay, so the first time something cool happened in the article was when they talked about how they're handling installs of games. Did you guys read about that?
No.
I did briefly, yes.
Pretty cool. So for those of you uninitiated, you're going to be able to install the parts of the game that you want to play first, whenever you want to install them. So let's say we all three grab Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the PS5. I can sit here and be like, all I care about is a single player, and you two could want to play multiplayer. I don't know if I'm pointing to the right place, but I got to get used to the whole visual thing. Yeah, you guys could both want to play multiplayer, and you could just download that and forget about single player, and I could download single player, forget about multiplayer, and just download the multiplayer whenever I want. Or I could download the whole game and then just delete specific parts that I wanted to, which is really nice.
That's super choice.
Especially since they're saying already that almost every game's probably going to be over 100 gigs, which just makes sense based on what we've been seeing lately. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if Xbox is going to do that. I'd imagine they would, because if PlayStation has the ability to do that, I don't want to say like it's guaranteed that the engineers at Microsoft would be able to do that as well, but you got to assume since they're all in the same arena.
With this announcement, even if they weren't planning on it, they have it on their radar to potentially...
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Is like, you know, we've got another year till these consoles come out. I'm sure a lot of things are finalized because dev kits are out. Like, people have been developing on these systems for like over a year now, but like, you know, PlayStation said a lot.
Could still be changed.
Yeah,
that sounds like a software thing.
I agree. Based on what little I know about how this actually works, I'm just a fan, you guys. So I wanted to read a quote from who is this one from? Oh, this is talking about their new UI, right? So that was like kind of a whole paragraph or two in the article, because PlayStation 4's UI was very lackluster, as messy as the Xbox One UI is to me. At least it has a lot of functionality and you can do a lot with it. PS4 has always just been very boring, and so they say you're gonna have a quote, and I don't have the source of the quote, but there's going to be a set of joinable activities in real time. Single player games will provide information like what missions you could do and what rewards you might receive for completing them, and all of those choices will be visible in the UI. As a player, you just jump right into whatever you like. That sounds like it means like, I think it means that I'm going to be downloading everything digital 100% on the PS5, because it means like if you have like Warframe, Sly Cooper, and Uncharted 5 installed on your PS5, when you open up the UI, this is the way I interpret it. When you open up the UI, it'll say, here's where you are in all of these games, and here's what you have coming next if you complete it, and you can just like click a button and jump right into it.
Okay.
Seems kind of tight. What do you guys think?
Tight. I think that could be messy. But with seeing like Sony's past and all their UIs, they've always been clean, whether that be functional or not. Like the PS3 and the PS4 like are pretty clean with like information. So it's hard for me to imagine that the PS5 comes out and then it's just like this ugly mess of information.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like there'd be like a happy middle of like minimalism, but yet information that would warrant all this of like where you are in these games. So if it's done right, like that could be choice. But done wrong, it could just be super ugly, and then I hate it.
Yeah.
I can say
And then, like, I
I've
just hate
had
it.
both the PlayStation and the Xbox this generation.
Yeah,
and
same.
every time I launched my Xbox, like I felt like I was part of an ecosystem, because it tells you literally what all your friends are doing right on the front page, and it gives you options to join them if they have their parties open or whatever. Every time I launch my PlayStation, I feel like it's like a single player console, because you get none of that information. It feels like you launch it, you're just there by yourself.
So when I was working at GameStop, like I'd get a bunch of like grandmothers that would come in and didn't know the difference, or like a bunch of like parents that want to give their kid the right experience, right? And they'd come in and they'd be like, "What's the difference?" And I'd say, the Xbox is like what all of your friends will have, and you'll jump into it and say, "Let's play some video games." And the PS4 has always been the like entertainment system. You know, it's always like about like, how will I be entertained today? Not like, how will I play video games with all of my friends that have the same thing? Even though it's got like, 2 times as many sales as the Xbox. Like it's got, 3 times as many as the Switch right now. Like it's still isolated is how I'm with you, man.
I never had that issue because most of the games that I play are single player games, at least on my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently found out that all my friends were like, "You're never on your PlayStation," like blah blah blah, and I had turned off my like visibility. So to all my friends, I was never on it, and then for them, like that affected them, but for me, it was never an issue.
Who cares? Yeah.
Because I was just like, if I want to play video games with you, I'll text you, be like, "Hey, hop on, let's play like Rainbow or something." I'm not gonna like be sitting on my like my couch, opening my PlayStation and be like, "Oh, they're playing Rainbow. I guess change of plans. Like, let me play that." So it's like I never had an issue that it like felt isolated because it's like I don't really care what my friends are playing.
Yeah, because like if I feel you.
It's like if I'm playing a video game, I'm not gonna be like, "I wonder what Ricky's playing." It's like I wonder what I'm playing.
Doesn't it always suck when you're playing a single player game and somebody will like send you a message like a party invite or something? It's like that feels very invasive to me. I don't know.
I feel like the opposite of you guys, because as soon as I turn on my computer or whatever, I'll go on Discord, see what everyone's playing on the sidebar. I'll go on Twitch, see
Okay.
streaming. I'll be like,
That's
so
okay.
what game could I get into today?
See, because I guess Jack and I were similar because we're PlayStation boys,
Yeah.
and it's always been
So
like
it's
about
like-
the single player experience. I feel.
My one thing with the PlayStation UI that always kind of bugged me out is like once you stop playing a game after a while, it goes away.
Yeah.
And so it's gone, which is like a totally chill if I never play that game for a long time.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like I'll put the disc in, or not even put the disc in. Like if I just download it, I'm like, where is it? And I scroll through it all. I'm like, oh, it's in the library. Let me go all the way to the end.
Yeah. There's some
click it,
stuff,
and then find it.
yeah.
But it's like that's like rare whenever I want to play like a game that's like that old that I haven't played in a long time. But that is something that anytime it does happen, I like realize it. I don't know like what would be like a clean fix that would fit the PlayStation aesthetic. I don't know. I'm not a UI developer.
Probably putting the
I don't
library
know.
at the front.
Putting the library at
all the
the
way
front is something that
Well-
PlayStation just needs to do. Like,
Yeah.
there's the store, the internet browser, and then like 18 games, and then the library. It's like,
Don't-
stop.
I don't give a shit about your internet browser.
Right.
I'm not gonna Google anything on my PlayStation.
And I don't want to
Unless
know
you're
what's
13,
new.
like I was once.
All
Unless
right.
you're
Whoa,
what?
whoa, whoa. All right. So speaking of UI, let's talk about AI.
Hey, nice segue.
Thanks, guys. They're talking about having a voice assisted AI for the PS5, which I could give a shit about, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on it because, like,
Like
there's always like
Cortana?
Xbox record that, and like like you can do stuff on your
God.
Xbox, and technically, I guess you can do that if you have the PlayStation microphone or whatever. I don't know. Because I don't give a shit about voice assisted stuff in general. Do you guys use voice activated things? I have an Amazon Alexa.
okay, so
But it's
I've actually
unplugged.
I muted my Alexa to actually talk about this. I use the Alexa all the time. They control my lights. They are. I ask the weather. The like alarm sets. So like I use it a ton. Like when this is down, I'm like, fuck. How do I turn off my lights?
Oh man.
Specifically, like also like my light switch doesn't connect to all these, so it's
Right.
like I'd have to go one by one, turn them on and off.
Right.
But but like the way that I use it, it's like it's integrated. Like this is how I work. That's what it is.
Right.
If PlayStation 5 has this integrated in a way that like flows and seamless, like I walk in and I'm like, Alexa, turn on my, and it all turns on. Like if it just works, and it doesn't feel like if it doesn't feel like cumbersome or like I'm trying to force it to work, I'm totally down for it, because that's just like a few less things that I can do. Like I can sit on the couch. Like sometimes the controller is just like too far away. I'm like, PlayStation, can you just like turn on like just like put on some anime or some shit? Like
Lazy Americans, am I right?
like
There it is.
yes, but if it's like if I can just somehow streamline, like it's so much faster for me to just be like, PlayStation, do this, than me to like pick it up, go to Netflix, select.
Right.
Like if it makes it faster, that'd be totally choice.
I
Yeah.
will say something. So I originally started off with Xbox, and I
Okay.
know it's a meme, to say Xbox record that, like when something cool happens. But I shit you not, it's a meme because it's
so
like
nice.
Actually functional.
It's so nice, dude.
I
Like,
can totally
when you do
see why
something
it's
cool in
functional.
the game. You don't want to like pause the game and stop what you're doing, especially like if you're in a multiplayer game, you can't pause it. So you don't want to like fiddle and like try and find the clip button and do all that stuff. You just say Xbox record that, records the past 3 seconds. You keep playing. At the same time, you have no idea how many times I said Xbox record that.
Dude, I'm the same way.
Record that.
Yeah.
Xbox.
Because you don't want to lose your clip, and then you're just shouting at the wall, and your mom's like, "Can you shut up? It's 12 in the morning."
Yeah. So if they can figure that out, and as long as it's optional, like I think a lot of these features, like it's cool to add stuff and integrate things, but you have to keep in mind that there's also going to be a user base that doesn't necessarily want that.
Like me.
Yeah, if they can make it optional, then that's the best for both worlds, honestly.
I agree.
Because the amount of people I know that have seen, like my roommate, he saw how I used the Alexa, and then he was like, "That's super choice." So then he got a Dot, and then like he keeps it unplugged because he's like, "This is useless to me." Like he was just like, it's annoying and just like whatever. It's just like, if it works with some people, totally cool, let me use it. But if it like doesn't work, I want it just gone.
Yeah.
Like
as far as voice activated stuff goes, like I am Will Smith in iRobot. Like I want nothing to do with the technology of the future right now, at least. So
I want everything to do with the future. And it's like when I turn.
Well, I'm with that. We'll talk about that's a podcast.
I want a heads up display in my eyeball.
That's
anyway,
a podcast.
If I turn it off, I don't want to ever fucking be reminded that it exists.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn it on and be like, "Hey, you know, if you just turn this on, you can speak to it." I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Like, if I turn it off, it does not exist.
Yeah.
It is gone.
Are you talking about like little like notifications that'll pop up and it's like, "Hey, if you turn on this feature," it's like, "Yeah, I hate that crap."
Anything, I want it all gone.
Yeah.
I either want it on and seamless. I don't want to be reminded that it exists. I just want to use it. Just don't tell me it exists. Let me use it or let me not use it. And don't muddy up your screen with like little things in the corner being like, "Hey, listen." No!
And then we're back to Ocarina of Time. So AI, use it wisely, Xbox and Microsoft, if you're listening. One thing I want to talk about is like controllers. So one thing that I do want in the next generation is for controllers to remain basically unchanged. Design-wise, but give me better battery life. Because I'm one of the weirdies that likes both controllers. I like the PlayStation 4 controller. I think it's probably one of the more comfortable controllers I've ever held.
I think it's the best controller I've ever had.
Yeah.
What?
But the Xbox One controller,
100%.
after using the Xbox One controller more, I will say, like, that's a nice feeling controller. And then even the Xbox Elite controller.
Okay.
Oh! But I want to, and before we get going, the controller conversation, let's talk about it. But I want to say there were details on the DualShock 5, which is what it's being called right now. But Sony says there's no name for it yet because the patents are still out and whatever. It's going to be a little bit lighter than how an Xbox One controller feels now with batteries in it. So, you know, think about that what you will. It'll have adaptive triggers. So, and that's not just like, was it
pretty cool?
Yes, it's pretty sweet. Cool. And I'm not even done yet. That's the thing about this controller is the adaptive triggers. Like, it sounds like, okay, cool. Like, you know, like you press it harder, it does things faster and whatever. No, like it will adapt to the game apparently. So shotguns will feel different than machine guns in Call of Duty. It will simulate tactile surfaces. So in the Wired article, they talked about how ice felt different from sand, which felt different from dirt, which felt different from grass, which felt different from water. So the controller, instead of just rumbling in your hands, actually has like actual technology in it, similar to what it sounds like the Joy-Cons have.
Like haptic feedback.
Haptic feedback. That's what it is. And that's like a whole like technology that's emerged, not necessarily recently, but like has become like implemented this way recently. Seems awesome. Like that
Well-
that to me, like if we can just get rid of general rumble and like have something that makes me feel like I'm really there. And they talked about the specific instance of playing like a dirt rally game or something where they're on the track and off the track at the same time and having different parts of the controller feel like fundamentally different as you're using them. Crazy.
The other thing they said is so with the triggers being like weighted differently, they said like when you pull a bow,
Yeah.
you would actually like it would feel tough to push down. And then they also talked about the rumble being like, I guess not even rumble anymore. The haptic feedback, to be precise, would be like if you crash into a wall, feels way different than like walking through grass.
That's crazy to me, man.
So, which brings up my, because it's like I love if they keep the controller the same, maybe make it out of a slightly better quality.
It feels cheap. The PS4 controller?
Like the first one, like the first generation that came out, like the later
Yeah.
ones, like the special editions or whatever, like you buy, they feel better. But it sounds like I hope they don't go just hog wild with these vibrations.
I'd be cool with it, though.
No, because it's like I would totally be cool with it, but also if I'm holding your controller and my player's just walking and I keep feeling this vibe, like if it becomes too much,
I
like
see what you're saying.
maybe like give an option of like small details, specifically for the rumbles. For small details, they can go away, or like minimum, only for larger scale, like feedback, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I don't know what they would do. I feel like every developer's different, but I feel like that could easily be too much. That now I'm just holding something that's constantly vibrating the entire like 30 hours.
So here's the thing.
Go for it.
I hate rumble in controllers. Absolutely hate it. Nintendo tried to like market their HD rumble like as something special, and yeah, it's kind of cool that it rumbles differently depending how you mess with it. But at the same time, if I'm playing a game, I don't need my lap to start rumbling with my hand there.
Yeah. Have you ever like started watching a cutscene and put your controller down on like a table or something?
Yeah, it's like
And then like an explosion happens. It goes, and you're like, what the hell? Like you get like you're not watching the game anymore.
that
You're
would've
like, where'd
been so
my
cool if I
controller
was
go?
holding it.
Yeah, like
yeah,
I hate
and
that.
It's like, and
You can't
also
turn it off though.
with things like this. It's always up to the developer. Like PlayStation, they might like incorporate it heavy with their first party games because they might require it, but most of the games that we're going to be playing, which are the third party titles, it's up to the developers if they even want to take advantage of that. Because for PlayStation 4, it was that little light bar on the controller that was like the special thing that was new.
Yeah.
And barely any developers did anything with it. It just stayed blue the whole time.
Did you guys play Infamous Second Son on the PS4?
Nah.
It's the
little
only
bit.
game I played throughout the entire. And this is a game that came out like within the first year or year and a half of like the PS4's life cycle. Like the only game I've played so far that has actually used the controller like how Sony intended the controller to be used. Because like you take the controller and like turn it like if you're holding it like this, you turn it sideways, and then you'd like use the trigger and like you would like spray paint on the wall and stuff, and like you'd have to shake the controller and like spray the paint, and like it was really cool, you know, like you'd aim it at the TV and it was really cool. One thing I don't want in a controller at all, or in this next gen at all though, speakers and controllers. Stop having I cannot stand it when I'm playing a game with headphones on or something, and then like out of nowhere the speaker in the controller tries to. So I've been playing MLB The Show 19, right? Because it's free this month. Mm-hmm. And one thing I can't stand is that like I'll be playing the game and like the coach of my team will be talking to me through the controller. So I was playing late at night at my parents' place, and I wanted to like turn it down, and then all of a sudden like I hit like a nice double and around the bases, and then out of nowhere my controller starts yelling at me to keep going. It's like run, and then like when I stayed at second base, it was like good boy, nice job, and I was like, I don't want my controller telling me this stuff.
Putting your thumb over, you're like,
That's what I was doing, and it doesn't matter because it's like I hate that.
Especially like when you're in a room with other people and you have headphones on specifically
God.
for that reason.
I couldn't sneak Super Smash Brothers Brawl on the Wii because the Wii had the speakers also, and the Wii was set up right next to my parents' room, so I couldn't wake up in like 7 a.m. and play that game like without them knowing. You know, like I couldn't play that game late at night because the controller would make noise. I hate that.
Wow.
Take it out. I don't want it. I don't want it at all.
or at least make it like, because I couldn't find a setting anywhere that let me turn it off.
Right. That's another.
That's
thing.
like the thing. It's like, if it's there, let me turn it off, which might be the biggest thing of the PS5 and next gen. Give me your cool shit. Let me decide if I want to use it.
Yeah.
And then let me turn it off, and I will never know it exists.
No,
Like, what?
ultimate user experience. That makes total sense, man.
Give me the cool things, and I go, that one's cool. That one's stupid. Get out of here. And then I never see it again.
100%.
So here's
Because-
my thing. I'm worried
Go on.
that Sony's like focusing on all this other crap that maybe like few select amount of people are actually gonna want, and they're not like investing their resources into actually like improving their ecosystem, if you will.
Well, at the same time, I can see like this is just like the cool things that will excite people that they're trying to get buzz for.
Big time, yeah.
Because it's like, what's more exciting? Like, look at all these cool new controller things. Or you guys want to hear about my ecosystem?
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, yeah, I do.
well, like
Right.
yes, obviously, but like in this small little tweet, it's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like for the generic like person, like probably hearing about the controller and like the specs is way more better than like their ecosystem.
Save the ecosystem stuff for when you've got like a presentation for me.
Yeah,
I'd rather see that than like
be told
read
about it.
about it. Yeah, exactly. But like I'm with you. I can't wait to see it. That'll be cool. Like another thing they were talking about, and then we'll move on to like just what you guys do and do not want. But like the chief studio officer for EA, Laura Meal. I hope I'm saying that name right. It's spelled in a way that I can't understand. She said that what they're seeing mostly at EA with these new dev kits and stuff is that they're seeing the GPU be able to power machine learning for all sorts of really interesting advancements in gameplay and other tools. What that means to me is that enemies and like teams that you're playing against in sports games and whatever will be able to actively learn how to beat you.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
What do you guys think about
that? I heard that in Last of Us 2. Mm-hmm. Is that the enemies are way more like difficult because they can learn, which that is
It's dirty.
tight. Because I want to say this that they use this in Alien Isolation.
That game's scary.
Is well, like I'd never beat it or whatever, but from what I remember is that like the alien, what they said, I don't know how like well it played off, but they said that it would learn as you play, and I think that is just, if it's done right, which how could you not?
Right.
I feel like that could just be like that just like heightens, like, actually no, it totally takes away like cheesing to
In a
beat
way.
an enemy.
Yeah, it could.
Because it's like, if I keep choosing your enemies, they'll be like, oh shit, what if we just, now we got you, and you're like, fuck!
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, if we
It
play,
makes the game better.
yeah, like if you and I play chess like 50 times together, you're gonna learn how I play the game, right? And then you're gonna change something up in game 51, and it's gonna throw me off. That's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
You said that was the head of E EA.
The chief studio officer. So I'd imagine that she like kind of wrangles all the studios that like are under EA's umbrella. I don't know exactly what she does. I wasn't able to research that deep today. But
So their shitty FIFA game that's the same every year is just gonna have improved AI. Anything EA says, I don't.
I agree. But I will say, like, yeah, as shitty as EA is, they are like, you know, one of the bigger names, so they have more access. And even though their games come out shitty, that doesn't mean that their developers aren't smart, right? Because their devs are working for people. Like, that's the thing about the game industry, man. Is I feel like, and we saw some things, and I don't want to get into the Blizzard stuff that happened today with the Hearthstone Hong Kong thing, But what we saw was the corporation take a side, and I saw specific, like, subtle but specific protests from people that I follow on Twitter that work at Blizzard or used to be affiliated with Blizzard. And people, like, you know, the people that worked for the company had a very different position than the company had. You know, people that work for EA, there's no way they don't know. Like, they know they work for EA.
Yeah, they have to know.
And so I feel like there are some people working at EA that have been in the industry for, like, you know, 20, 30 years that, like, know what's up, that they're doing some smart things. And that's why people like this chief studio officer can say things like, hey, our devs have found, like, cool things you can do with it. That doesn't mean that FIFA's going to be any better. No, for sure not.
They also said that they don't have loot boxes and they have surprise mechanics.
I mean, like, you know, they're that way. I agree.
To show me.
Right.
They need to show me and not tell me.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, what this means to me is that a smart dev figured this out. And that means it's understandable for lots of people in the industry, I hope. And so it becomes a thing, and not just Battlefield 6, but, like, in, like, you know, actual games I want to play, like the next God of War. Like, if the enemies could get smarter and, like, you know, like, then you would throw difficulty settings out the window, which I feel like that's a whole podcast in itself, is talking about the future of difficulty settings.
Yeah.
But the last thing,
accessibility in general.
Or what?
Because I mean, it's not just us hardcore gamers out there. There's also, you know, every game has the potential to be someone's first game.
Yeah.
And I saw this experiment where, like, this guy and lived with his wife, obviously. And his wife wasn't a gamer. And he, like, had his wife play a series of more modern games. And she couldn't figure it out because they don't teach you how to play games anymore. There's, like, a high, steep learning curve to learning games now if you want to get into it.
I agree. I tried to teach an ex-girlfriend to play Skyrim, and she had never held a controller before, and she couldn't figure out the dual stick thing. And I was like, "Can we not do that? I can't watch this anymore."
Yeah,
like,
sure.
she didn't know that you could look with the mouse.
Yeah, she was using WASD to move around, but she didn't know to use the mouse to, like, actually move the camera.
Oh man, that's
Because
insane.
the game doesn't tell you. Like, games don't tell you how to play things anymore. They just, like, expect you to have prior knowledge.
Yeah,
like, walk with these buttons, but it never says, like, look with the mouse.
Yeah, I mean, even games like Mario Odyssey. So my mom got a Switch like a year after the Switch was out, right? So, like, games had finally come out for it. My mom's favorite game on the Switch is Overcooked 2, right? Every time I'm home, we have to play it. It's a great game. If you haven't played Overcooked 2, it's on everything. Go play it. It's a great party game to play with your parents. But it's also, I mean, also it can ruin some relationships because we yell at each other when we play that game, and that's awesome. But my mom doesn't really like to deviate from Overcooked 2 because, like, you know, she's got Mario Kart. Easy to understand. It's Mario Kart. It's been the same forever. She's got Mario Party. It's like 2 buttons in the whole game. It's whatever. She bought Mario Odyssey at my recommendation because I said, hey, this is one of the best games on the Switch ever, and anybody that tries to fight that is wrong. And she can't really, like, it, like, you have to use the dual stick mentality for that. And my mom has not been playing games forever, you know? And so every time I come home, I'm like, hey, have you played Mario Odyssey? And she's like, nah, I can't, like, I don't, you know, understand how to really play it. And that's nothing against her. And, like, my mom is really good at some games. But yeah, it's a whole, I think accessibility I think that's a good podcast.
Could be.
I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Stay tuned.
2 other things I want to talk about briefly are I don't want loud ass consoles next generation. Do not give me a console that sounds like a jet engine again. If Sony gives me that, I will return it, and I will put all that money into PC parts.
I just want to, because we've been talking, not even on the podcast, but off the podcast, about how loud the PS4 is. I've been listening to my PS4 and Ian's. Ours aren't that loud.
Dog,
you guys felt lucky.
Yeah, you literally must have, because my last PS4. So I've had 4 PS4s.
You're playing games from 2000.
No,
no, Deadly Premonition's on his PC, but no.
PC. My PC fans are always turned up to 1 billion, so it doesn't matter the game.
Yeah, man. Like, I've had my first PS4 was loud as hell, and then I got the PS4 Pro, and that was loud as hell, and that one was louder than my current PS4 Pro. So that PS4 Pro that was loud as hell got struck by lightning because my house got struck by lightning. It got fried. I got a new PS4 Pro. This one over here is still loud as hell. It's not as loud, but it's loud. So there are differences. And I think that's a lot of like the silicon lottery. Like just some computer parts are going to last longer or be better performing than others. And I think that, and I don't know specifically about this. Maybe this is a whole like delve deep podcast, but like how consoles are actually made. Like I feel like there's a lot of like, where can we get these parts the cheapest going on? And I feel like a lot of that is why certain PS4s will sound louder than others. But yeah, that's one thing I just don't want is loud ass consoles.
One thing I don't want is you know how like sometime like when you launch the Steam store on your PC or you launch just any launcher on PC and they're like, here's the deal of the day.
Yes.
Buy this game. Like if I'm launching like your thing, I most likely know what I want to get. Don't show me every time I launch your launcher or your system or whatever, like the new game that you want me to spend money on, please.
That's a really, really good point, man. Because we live in such a like I feel like I follow. I don't know why I do this. I follow Steam on Twitter. So
what?
Because I thought like, you know, sometimes I'll see deals on games. Like they tweet out like every, you know, like midweek madness, every whatever, like all the sales that are going on all the time. They'll tweet about them. And sometimes I find games that I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that game existed, and I'll buy it. But like, you know, I can't. I mean, every time, you're saying like it's a 7-page thing when you get into Steam. You got to click through like 7 page. I mean, you could click X, but let's be honest, it's a Steam sale. Like you want to see what's going on.
I'm X right away.
Really? See, like I've always found like I wouldn't have found Mount and Blade, one of my favorite games of all time, if I had like clicked the X. Like I clicked through I clicked through all the Steam sales because I never know what's gonna hit me. But
maybe they should have got better press.
And maybe they should have, but maybe I'm also like Steam's exact audience, you know? Like maybe because it's like maybe I'm that normie, you know, that they're looking for.
If I want to shop around, I'll shop around on your launcher. But if I just open it, I'm most likely either gonna play a game I already own, or I'm gonna go to your store anyway.
Yeah.
You have a store page.
Yeah.
Don't open it with 6 windows.
Can we talk about
like, hey, have you looked at this game yet? I'm like, yes, I've seen it. I don't want it.
like how many times do I need to see God of War advertised in my face?
Yeah.
You know,
True.
I don't need it.
I've been watching my roommate play that.
Speaking of sales, really quick,
Sorry.
bundle this month.
Oh yeah, talk about it.
$12. You get Spyro the Ignited Trilogy that just came out like a couple months ago. You get the Crash games, the 3 trilogy, whatever that came out like a year ago, and then you get COD World War II for $12,
which is fixed by the way. $12.
12 big boy, big bones.
7 games
Spyro
plus other
is
indie
literally
games.
Still $40.
Yeah, I have that game. That is a really good remaster. If people haven't played it, that is a killer remaster.
I guess this is my time to play it.
$12. I mean, damn.
$12. Yeah, that's a good.
And those aren't even the only
get
games.
More game unlocks throughout the month too. They're probably gonna be crappy because these first 3 are pretty lit, but you still get like 2 other games.
I've never subscribed to a Humble Bundle thing, but this might be the month I do the Humble Bundle thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I do have one other point. I do want to go over a couple of like news stories that have happened today because we have talked about a lot of this PS5 stuff. Also, PS5 coming holiday 2020. They've confirmed that.
Yeah.
So look for both these consoles around the same time. We talked a lot about PlayStation because it's the one with the most information, but stay tuned to your favorite news source or stay tuned to us and you'll see more. I want to talk about how Ghost Recon has completely destroyed itself. And how like one of the things I don't want on future consoles is Ubisoft games. I'm tired of them. I just don't. I'm sorry. I was an Assassin's Creed fan, as hardcore as the hardcore. You know, like I like my mom bought them for me every Christmas. Like it was my favorite game series ever. Like I loved it so much. And then they turned them into fucking live service games where as soon the day it's launched, you can just skip all the content. Like you can get these these boosters that like make the game like go by half as fast, and then like that already to me seems like there must be a lot of artificial padding in this game. Ghost Recon, what? Oh, it's not Wildlands. Breakpoint. Thank you. I see that sounded too much like Point Break, which is the Keanu Reeves movie, and I. Anyway, this game came out, and day one you could buy every gun, every upgrade, every skill that's in the game with real money. Right? You could buy. They said, these EXP boosts that you see in the store. Sorry, those were a mistake. Yeah, we didn't mean to put those in. You can buy everything you want with real money, though. And it's like, what? Then why play the game?
Like, let me take you on a fucking journey.
I'm just saying, take me on the journey, but I don't want Ubisoft making games anymore.
Breakpoint sounds like surface level essay, 10-word elevator pitch. My type of game. Open world, co-op, you go around and blow shit up and complete missions and unlock shit.
Yep.
How the fuck do you fuck that up?
The same way they fucked up Wildlands, which was just not fun. And in this one, you
would think they would learn,
like
but they never learn.
I agree. Like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, like give me those games all the time. Those games were amazing. But this new stuff, it's just like shitty Division. Like the Division 2 was bad. But like, yeah, I don't need this like open world Division one-shot headshot game, because every gun feels the same, because every enemy has the same like hitbox and like time to kill, like so nothing feels different. In this one, you don't even have AI companions, and as stupid as the AI companions were in Wildlands,
they were bullet sponges.
They were bullet sponges, and they could revive you. Like you can't even.
Point, right?
Yeah.
You can play Destiny 2.
Yes.
For free.
For free.
That is so. Destiny 2 plus its year one content. Its year one content's kind of lackluster, but still, Destiny 2 as a game, as a shooter game, the best shooting. Bungie, we all know, they'll Bungie for the shooters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That game is free now. If you're gonna charge me $60 for your fucking game, don't expect me to spend any more money in the first 30 hours that I spend playing your game.
Yeah, I agree.
All you have to pay for Destiny is $35 for the expansion pack. So
which is fair.
Essentially $35 for like pretty much all the content in the game, and that game just goes on forever.
Yeah, and I mean like and when companies do make like good solid DLC is gonna be like $35, but it's gonna feel like a new game. Like the new Monster Hunter expansion, this Destiny expansion. I want to say for the record, Ubisoft, I don't buy it. I don't like this new live service model you've got. You did okay with Rainbow Six. Stop fucking with things, okay? I don't want to buy every gun in the game. What?
They didn't do... Okay, so Rainbow Six came out. It was bad.
It was trash, but now it's like a thing.
And they kind of figured it out. But now it's kind of getting bad again, because they're like doubling down into this, pay us more money and we'll give you a little bit more for a lot of money.
Damn. See,
hey, Ubisoft, you hear what Parker says? We don't buy it.
We don't buy it.
PlayStation 5 and Xbox Snake, we're canceling you.
Canceled. No Ubisoft ever. That's what I don't want.
Guess what, Ubisoft? You're out. That really sucks. But guess what? We're gonna have fun this time.
Yeah, I want to.
We'll only spend $60. And guess what? We'll have so much fun. Or we'll play Destiny for free.
Yeah, like
or
this.
Imagine this. You play Spider-Man, $60 game. Mm-hmm. All the cosmetics in that game, you unlock through gameplay.
That's crazy.
What? Like, you pay the $60, you get a full fucking game.
That's crazy.
I have another thing about these cosmetics and loot boxes.
Oh god.
Oh man.
I'm sick. I am sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
I am sick and tired of me wanting to do. I want to make a hot boy in my video games, and you're telling me I can't just buy them with in-game currency or unlock them. I gotta get them random. Get
out of here. Get out of here with that. Exactly.
I want to make my character look like me, and I can't do that if I'm playing Fortnite and you give me freaking tube socks and a dumbass hat. I don't wear tube socks.
You got the hat right.
I got
the hat.
Like, oh sweet, I got a cowboy hat.
Get the hat.
Throwing that on.
Yeah,
Like,
there's.
Or let me take it one step further. Hey, loot boxes. We're canceling you too.
That'd be
Bucko.
great. That would be awesome.
You hear me? You're also out of here.
Canceled. Done. This game, this console generation, honestly, the one we're currently in, I feel like has gotten out of hand, and video games honestly make me very tired now.
Yeah.
I look at a game like Ghost Recon Breakpoint and I go, oh god. Like, why? And I look at a game like, I mean, even World of Warcraft or like, anything that used to bring me so much joy, and I go, God, are we done yet? Like, can we just move on to the next IP, please? Like, can we just...
Right? If you sell me a game and you're gonna ask for more money for me to skip your game, you're not making a good game.
You're right. The game has to be fundamentally terrible. I'm with you.
The other thing is, like, not to sound like another old man complaining about these dang millennials and they're buying DLCs. I remember where I could pay $60 and that was it. And I had your game.
Yep.
And then DLC was like a long time after. It's not like, sweet, I've paid $60 and then they come up to me, smack me in the face and go, we have a $30 DLC. I'm like, I haven't even downloaded the game yet.
How about this? I'll see you that situation, and I'll raise you this. You go into the store, you buy that $60 game that you're very excited to buy.
Oh, sweet,
and then the first thing that the neckbeard that works at GameStop says is, would you like to buy the season pass for another $60? You're guaranteed all of the content that comes out. And you say, what?
No!
What? Of course
I
not.
used to do that for every Call of Duty.
Listen, man, I get it. Okay, I worked at GameStop. I sold the season passes. I get it. It's just we're in this thing where, like, if games keep going the direction they're going, which is just monetized to hell, if this Ghost Recon thing becomes the norm, and it doesn't look like it will because every outlet is shitting on them. I would say that video games are definitely going downhill if that becomes the norm. And that's a sad thought.
2019 has been a really, I'm not going to say shitty, but pretty close to shitty year for games.
It's been tough. It's been tough with the capital T.
2020 is looking a lot better, especially with the release of the next-gen consoles and the games coming out around that time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that to like this whole era or this wave or this console generation, whatever you want to call it. I just want it to end so we can like kind of start fresh.
A hard reset.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be amazing. But yeah, yeah. No, keep going, Jeff.
I bought one season pass in my entire life.
Last of Us.
Only one. No.
Damn.
It was the Breath of the Wild season pass. I have lost the receipt. There's a photo of it on my phone. I have yet to even download it ever.
Really?
That is what I think of. That is what I think of season passes. And that's mic drop.
It's just you buy it, you forget it, set it and forget it.
Season passes, be in the game.
Whoop! There it is. All right. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything?
That's it.
That's it. Boom. That's the podcast.
Sick, nasty mic drop. That's where we're ending.
That's a great place to stop. All right. Well, if you guys like what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash it as hard as you can. If you want
or
us
I will
to
throat punch you in the eyeball.
I will. If you don't smash like as hard as you can, I will call the police.
Wow, you heard it here first,
That's
folks.
not a threat.
What? If you want us to talk about anything specific, if we forgot about your favorite news story, let us know in the comments below. If you have specific thoughts on what you'd like to see from the next console generation or what you wouldn't like to see, let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for your support, and Squad Chat out.
Bye.
Bye, gamers.